furlers just snapped. Big wind, wave, just snapped in half. Man. It's in the water, I just need to get it out. Oh, this is a disaster. The wind's blowing 25 knots and where it's snapped I can't get it off. I don't know if I just have to let it go. Because I'm drifting now. Oh. Defeated. Hoping I can get back now because I'm hardly moving.
Seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago. But all will be okay, I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago. But all will be okay, I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I ain't going back, I'm not falling. I'll push all my chips and call all in. I'll bet on myself, you keep stalling. I hear destiny and it's calling. I'll keep my head up high through the downs and lows. And we're all going live, still nobody knows. But I'ma choose what's right and take what comes and goes. And ain't no one in life holding me back no more. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago. But all will be okay, I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Chapter 2. So, if you're new here, I'm Jay, and over a year ago I set off and I planned to sail a lot further than I've got so far. So, the title of the episode is Strandard, and behind me, there she is. It's an Aloha It's an Aloha 29 sailboat, so we'll go down and take a look. So there she is, and that's where she's been sat since October of 2023. So we've spent Christmas here, we saw the new year through here, and to be honest, when I first got here I had no idea how I was going to get back out of here, if I was ever going to get back out of here on a boat anyway. So the story so far. So the story so far, I set off in October 2022, having ended my job that I'd done for the previous 11 years prior to that, and I already owned a boat in France because I used to use it to escape work. Really, it was a place away from the campsite I used to work on, and it just gave me a bit of an escape. It meant I could spend the night times down by the sea. And the sailing experience when I set off was minimal, if you could even count it, to be honest. From there I set off because at the time I was a bit low on options. Everything I had was in a boat and I didn't have a job anymore, so I was trying to make the best of a bad situation to start with. But I did always have this dream that I wanted to go off and sail like so many other sailing channels out there are doing. However, I didn't know how tough it was going to be, and the boat wasn't ready at all. So we've spent the last year just trying to get by, really. And then, yeah, an accident later, and that's how we found ourselves here. So I'd hoped by now, a year later, I'd have practiced sailing a lot more than I did. I'd have hoped I would have found myself over by the Canary Islands by the end of the year, having sailed around the Mediterranean. However, if you've seen season 1, you know what happened, and if you haven't, it was problem after problem after problem after problem. However, on a positive note, I learned patience more than anything else, and that there were going to be times I couldn't get to where I wanted to get to, and this wasn't part of the plan. This has happened, and what I wanted to show right from the off was, could you sail around in the winter on a boat in the Mediterranean? Way back to season 1, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe, because I didn't really see many people doing it. Quite often, gets to the winter, people go back home or off to work to earn some money before doing another season of sailing. So that's how it started, and this winter is going to be how I can fix a boat or find a boat and find a way to get out of here. So that's the plan going forward. So where am I? Port Mew is a natural port in a nature reserve in Cassis, so not so far from Marseille. So as far as places to be stuck are concerned, we could have got stranded somewhere a lot worse. I'd actually been in this port a couple of years ago on a much smaller boat, and I just lived here in the winter, so I was quite familiar with the place. And if I had to get stuck somewhere, although it might not seem it, being stuck in the middle of nowhere might not turn out to be too bad. And when the sun is shining, it really is a little paradise in the south of France. And after months of being in built up, busy places, to be somewhere quiet, out in nature, it's actually really nice. And if you'd like to see more of the place, in the next episode I will do a tour of the Calanque, which is what it's called, and I'll show you around. So hit subscribe, press the bell, and be notified when that episode comes out. But for now, we'll get back to the problem at hand. So yeah, stranded. Stranded might seem like a fairly dramatic term, but as I say, everything I have is on that boat, so I can't just like leave it. And I don't actually have a place to put it or the money to pay to put it somewhere, so I've just got to see it out at the minute. At the minute, I'm just seeing it out, and for the first few weeks of being here, I wandered around trying to think what to do, and in the end I decided that, you know, that was probably something worth showing to people, and that would keep me motivated to try find a way to A, just survive here off not any money, and B, try and fix the boat up ready enough to be able to then get back out of here, and C, free, also try to show how you can arrive in a place where you don't really know anyone and leave the place having known some people, and that actually even being here in the middle of nowhere, can I still manage to get a way out again. So yeah, stranded is pretty much the case, and yeah, in order to get out of here, firstly I need to make some money, secondly I need to fix the boat, and during doing all of that I need to obviously survive, i.e. eat, etc. So that's what will be coming up in the upcoming episodes. So if you stay tuned, I will show you all of the problems I have with my boat. There'll be some episodes showing where I went wrong last summer, and also what I learned last summer. And yeah, I'm hopeful that I can find a way to strive here a little bit and find some ways to earn money outside of the regular ways, and hopefully next summer get to where I was planning to get to this summer and go from there. So that's what will be coming up. So you saw at the beginning of this video the clip of the furler breaking, and when that happened, it was a couple of hours on the motor in the waves getting into where I've been tied up ever since. Now, I'll post a link to the real-time update I did after that happened, but it took me a few days to actually put that real-time update on. So I got into the port in the night, it was dark, it was quite hard to tie up and stuff, and then it was really the morning after where it sunk in. I woke up with the abrupt thought that the boat was really actually quite broken. And from there, it was probably nearly a week that I didn't put anything on YouTube. I didn't really do anything apart from think. So I did quite a lot of walking around and thinking, um, and it really back then was a question of, is this the end of this? Really, like, without sounding dramatic at the time, I really just didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know already, really, once I realised I couldn't go do the trip over to Mallorca, what I was going to do. But then to come back and have that happen, it really, to be honest, it shook me. Like watching that furler and sail sink, it was scary. There's no ifs and buts about it. The sea's quite scary anyway. There'd been other things before that that had been quite scary, but being at the front of the boat, getting knocked around, and all I had to do was that last trip to get back and then go from there. And to break it on that last part was actually the morning after it really sunk in. So it took me quite a few days, to say the least, just to kind of like gather my thoughts and stuff. So it took me a little while to post anything onto YouTube and update, and I'll post at the end of this video that real-time update so you can see what was going on, maybe a bit better, because this is obviously a while after now. But yeah, the first week was maybe spent just thinking. So yeah. So in the days building up to and the 27th of October, I'd kind of pulled myself back into like, it's not over yet. I'd kind of already accepted the fact before the boat broke that I was going to be here for the winter, and I'd thought long and hard about what I was going to do with that. And after the initial fear and everything had worn off of what had happened, I just started to think of ways that I was going to move forward from the situation I was in. So, like looking at the pros and the cons. I can't believe I've just said the pros and the cons. But yeah, looking at the situation. So, one pro was, or one, it's another word for pro. One good thing was that, I still had a roof over my head, so to speak. The boat hadn't sank. Um, I'd lost a furler and a sail, and I hadn't injured myself. And actually, in all that time, I was thinking I did become quite grateful for that because, as I say, it was quite dangerous when I was at the front of the boat, and a couple of times I was not so far away from being in the water. So after a while, I started to look at that. I was okay. The boat was okay. It was just very broken, and I didn't really have the funds to fix it. But I'd already kind of thought about, I wanted to show this on YouTube, how I was going to get out of the situation I was in. And I didn't really want to go fly back to England, and I'll get onto that in another episode about how financially I might not have ended up that better off anyway. So it was back to thinking like what to do. So I'd gone and got a Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi login from the port, who nicely let me use it. I realised there was this room that many of you have seen me in no end of time. I could plug the laptop in again. I could catch up with the YouTube videos because at this point I was way, way, way behind with editing them, and it's actually took me months to catch up. So I could get that done, and then I just started to think about some ways I could earn money. So there will be an upcoming episode about that. So once the initial sort of had worn off, I was back to trying to think how I was going to get out of here. October and November had quite a lot of bad weather, so this is just what was an average day just by the port of Cassis next to where I am. So, although I was stuck in a port, I was thankful not to be out in this. So, just to give you a better idea of just how strong them waves were, I'll zoom in on the lighthouse. So yeah, we wasn't going anywhere. The boat was broken, the weather was bad, and it just confirmed that it was the right decision not to set off. I did have a little bit of, I wouldn't say regret, but questioning whether I should have left where I was back in Cannes or around Cannes, because work-wise there might have been a bit more going there. But I'd done it and I weren't prepared to go try get back over there. And another reason for not going back over there is during chapter one of this, I was over in Cannes doing some boat work on someone's boat. They never paid me for it, and for that reason, I ended up actually having to leave Cannes port on bad terms because I kept saying I was going to pay. I'm just waiting to get paid by the people I was doing the work for. They never paid me, and I'd gone in to try explain, and the port over in Cannes just said the most important thing is you leave today. And if you remember and you've seen the previous episodes, I kind of got banished out. And from there, that's what kind of led on to, I think I mentioned earlier in the video, my then, I think it was 2 days, maybe 1 day short of 2 consecutive months at anchor. And without really knowing what I was doing, I'm quite proud of that. One thing I am proud of over the last year was that being out there at anchor without really knowing what I was doing. But back to the point, back over there now, I'd struggle for somewhere to go stay. It really, ideally, would be Cannes, but I couldn't go back there anyway. So there was no point dwelling on the fact I hadn't gone back over there. And actually, the port here had told me that they'd try their best to help me. And from there, I started to look around, which will be an upcoming episode as well, about what sort of facilities would be useful. And I'd kind of come around to the idea that even though I couldn't fix the big things on the boat just yet because I didn't have the money to do so, I could still maybe do some work on the inside of the boat, because for the first time in a long time I was in a port, and maybe that would be a better time, get the whole interior looking as good as I could possibly get it. So regardless of what happened, it would either be in a better position to sell the boat because the interior would have looked a lot nicer, and it would just been a bit more comfortable to live in. And some of the one thing that one thing less to bother me, I guess, is the best way of putting it. And another, the maybe one of the best things about being where I was the nature that was around me. You know, I planned on doing some kayaking. So yeah, I was back to having a plan, and then this happened. Oh man! Yesterday, I some people came to be having a barbecue, and it's rare for anyone to come and visit, as you know. Anyway, as I went to get on the boat, one of the mooring lines is in the wrong place, so the boat isn't sitting properly where it's meant to be. And I had hold of the front of the boat, and I was talking, and the boat kind of went too far away from me to the point that then my feet couldn't pull me back. So I didn't want to go in the water because my phone was in my pocket and it's cold. So I jumped, but because of the angle of the boat, as I've then made contact with the boat, it's one knee has hit the big solid metal chunk on the front of the boat, and it's really swollen. I can't bend it, and yeah, I've hardly had any sleep, and getting like I can't go to town or anything. Getting to the shower block, which is a 1 minute walk usually, took me to to get back from it yesterday night. It took me about 20 minutes, and it was dark. And I've got to say this, and I try not to say things like this, but just the walk back, it was dark, and it's just another thing that now is going to slow everything down. It wasn't swollen yesterday, but I've woke up and it's really swollen, and it was quite sad. That's all I'll say on it. But it's not the pain of the knee or anything else. It's just the struggle of getting back and climbing onto the boat, and then just another sort of. If I'd broken it, and I don't know if you can break your knee, but I know it's not good. It'll bend slightly, but it now won't. It won't. Well, say it'll bend slightly. I can't fully bend it. I can bend it about, I don't know, 9 degrees, 10 degrees maybe. And yeah, if I accidentally twist it slightly or bend any further than that, it just sends like a big shooting pain. And yeah, and then I'm thinking, what if I've done something bad to it that's going to take like some time? What will I do? Because I can't then get to the shop. The internet doesn't work inside the boat. I won't be able to keep everything charged, and now I will just be sat. And for the last couple of weeks, the distraction of like trying to set up like this clothing website that I've been doing and stuff, and now I've been awake since like 4 o'clock. I didn't want to try get off the boat while it was wet and dark and go back to the shower block to go use the laptop and try to do something productive for a bit. I've just been laid, so but yeah, the knee's not good. I'm gonna try get off the boat because I need the toilet too, and even though I couldn't really use this toilet anyway because I'm in the port, I don't think I'll be able to sit on it. Like, I think I'm genuinely gonna have to go use the one with a handlebar to try and lower down, because I just can't bend my leg, so I have to get down with my leg straight out. Yeah, I didn't want to be recording this, but I guess that is the reality of boat life. If you hurt yourself and you live on a boat, it's not so easy. It's probably not easy in a house, but when you do everything on your own, there's no one that can help me get up the stairs or anything really. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll survive, but it's just not being able to just go and walk down on top of everything else when I've got so much to do. It's not gonna be good. So if I start this part with a big smile, because that was quite sad, I know. Yeah, I bashed the knee up pretty bad, and for the most part, I was doing all right with it, and that was, the day after, and I'd walked to the shop, and I'd got back, and it was just getting dark, and there was just this really like horrible feeling as I was hobbling along the thing, of like, yeah, I don't know, but sometimes I regret putting these things in. I've picked the less sad of 2 clips, because there was a bit after that where I tried to re-explain it, and I look on the edge. So I've not put that one in. So I don't put these things in to try and make anyone feel sorry for me. I really don't like putting them in, but I had that real footage of when that happened, and I've put it in there. So yeah, anyway, the knee got smashed up, and it didn't halt me being able to do everything. I was still able to get in and use the laptop and stuff, it just made everything a bit more of a struggle, and it made cleaning the boat quite hard. I couldn't bend down, and it made the things that I'd then told myself, like go out and do some kayaking and exploring the nature, suddenly became quite hard to do, and it was just not ideal, is the best way of putting it.
I know I shouldn't be moaning about this. I'm really not. Like in the daytime, I treat coming in here like work. But on a night time, without coming in here, I'm limited to what I can do. And if I've been in here, I can make the laptop last for like an hour back at the boat. But if I'm editing a video or whatever, it takes quite a while. But sometimes it'd be good if you could just like hibernate during the winter. Just like get some, what the squirrels eat? Nuts. Go get into the V-berth under like all of the covers and blankets and whatever I can find on the boat, and just go to sleep until like end of March. That would be ideal, I think. But that's a depressing thought, so less of that. Because I won't get anything done that I need to get done in the winter. Just need to find a way to make it work better. But yeah, I've just got in here, and I'm going to go to the toilet, but yeah, it's a long time to spend in here. And it's just, maybe I need to like, it's a worktop rather than obviously like a desk or a table. So it's like, it's like this all the time. And you can only control it so much. Like I come in here yesterday, someone wanted the door open, left it open for like 3 hours on the evening, and then it was freezing for the rest of the night. It's going to be alright. So this is my setup at the minute. So I have the laptop open, I'm trying to find some ways to earn some money. But yeah, there's the setup in the shower block. So by the time November ended and December came about, the knee had started to get a little bit better, so I was back to being able to be fairly active again.
So this is Christmas Eve, where I spent the evening watching the sun go down, have a glass of wine. But yeah, that then brings us up to January and where we are now. So in the next episode, I'll show you around the place, and in the upcoming episodes, there's going to be a bit more of the little clips you've just seen. So a bit more about what I've done to try and make some money, how I've survived here with no money, and the plan going forward. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.